We are live. Welcome to my video. This is going to be my thoughts on Daredevil Born Again Season 1 Episode 2 Optics. The episode is rated TVMA, so will this video be. And yeah, the video will contain spoilers for the episode and yeah, the entire MCU and all adjacent stuff leading up to it. Another episode I love. Let's dive right in. So let's see. Yeah, there's so many things to touch upon. Okay, yeah, I appreciate that they're still not shying away from the fact that some, cops in major U.S. cities are, behaving like vigilantes. This thing of like, they wait until after someone else has committed violence against them before they identify themselves as cops. That's happened in real life, and yeah, the thing about it turns out he's White Tiger, and now there's this debate about, is that relevant? Does it go to a method of holy shit. Okay. Does it go to... Is it an ongoing thing, I will say that the fight at the subway station was somewhat underwhelming. Yeah. The choreography, I think, boils down to the fact that it is supposed to be... Well, no, yeah, wait, yeah. When I saw the scene, I thought, oh, this guy, Hector, is maybe not the best fighter, so it's kind of, but he's a vigilante, though. So, you would think, and they're cops, so there's not really an excuse there. And yeah, just some of the filming and editing of it was just also, yeah, it felt kind of sloppy and awkward. I did think the fight at the very end of the episode, ending with the epic shout, that was quite good. I'm not sure it's quite up to the level of the original Daredevil shows, or the oneer in the first episode of this one. Yeah, and the fact that, yeah, he's innocent of this, but he is also hiding something was nicely done. Cherry having such an easy time looking around did feel a little Dexter-y. That was like, okay, sure. Very easily access and pretty quickly find the thing you're looking for, or that you need to find, whether or not you were looking for that exact thing or not. I don't know. It feels weird to me. I get that she's like, okay, these people are trying to work with me, but she's also like, I don't know about this. And then he's like, oh, I'll just go into your bedroom. Don't worry about it. You stay here. That really felt, yeah. Now, I think that does... Yeah, quite appreciate Matt, saving Nikki and taking a beating, which I understand is a fairly Catholic thing. And let's see, yeah, I appreciate the fights are still very brutal. The broken bones, the guy getting hit by a train. I gotta say, when I saw the trailer, I actually mistook Hector for Frank Castle. Now, let's see. Yeah, and the fact that one of the cops has a Punisher logo tattooed on him, yeah, they're commenting on, because again, that's the thing. There are American big city cops who think they're the Punisher. And it is quite a bad thing. I forget the exact name, but one of the people who makes Punisher comics straight up addressed it in a comic. Which, like, there's a lot of things that are not addressed in comic books, even as people are like, oh, this is the fault of comic books. And to be clear, I don't think it's the fault of the comic book that these, like, they were going to find something else to go on a power trip about. stroke their own ego, make themselves feel big instead of actually trying to help people. They just want to hurt people. Anyway, we get some more great Trisk stuff. The blackmail certainly seems familiar. Let's see. And he is even eating fast food at the desk at his job. Like, it's just short of, like, the Diet Coke. And apparently he thought the sandwich was terrible. So maybe they're drawing in a little bit of RFK there. But he is not Musk, because he didn't wait until the guy already lost his job before he hurried up and rehired him. Or tried to, anyway. I think that might more or less cover... Yeah, see, then we also have some stuff that I think is sort of supposed to be maybe Trisk, maybe throwing MAGA a bone, because... You know, yeah, it's appealing, this thing of, like, he goes in and says, yo, fill up this hole right now. Oh, we want to, but there's red tape. Like, this sounds exactly like one of the things you would say, you know, it's like, oh, nobody ever asked that before, Mr. President. Like, I can't tell if they're trolling or sincere. But yeah, the fact that he did actually accomplish something that helps people, and it didn't, like, screw something up, cause new problems, you know, try to fix a problem that didn't even exist, or fix it really badly, so not very Trumpian in that regard. Let's see, I think, yeah, BB, Urich's, you know, Ben Urich's niece, if I understand correctly, you know, continues to be a compelling character. Quite liked her confronting, because, you know, that was what she was there for. You know, she didn't just want to, you know, talk about how awesome he is. And that was very Trisk. Yeah, this thing, oh, the reporter wants to talk to me. This is exciting. You're not going to put all the incriminating stuff I said in your book, are you? Yes, I am. I'm a journalist. And let's see, right, I did just briefly want to address, I thought more about it. I take back, you know, in my video on the first episode, I said that you couldn't really join, you know, you couldn't watch the show without having watched other stuff. Technically, they did tell you just enough that you could follow everything. It's just not quite going to have the same emotional impact. But yeah, they're still managing to do that. It was also somewhat more subtle. Like, it was like in a lot of recent MCU, they'll just straight up have, like, this was something, you know, Captain America Brave New World, because it has so much to remind people of. You know, there's scenes where they're just, for several seconds, they'll just exposition dump. You know, they'll say a bunch of stuff that if you've been watching these movies all along, you already know. And it's fair enough that there's a lot of people who didn't or don't remember, but it stands out, you know. I think that just about covers... Yeah, I'm worried for Heather. It's dangerous to be that close to Fisk. Let's see. Yeah, the trial scenes were also nice and tense, and this talk about, you know, this could really ruin the firm. And let's see. Right, the Vox Pop continues to be a good addition. I do quite appreciate, yeah, you know, Ben was this, you know, old-fashioned investigative reporter who wrote these very damning articles, and she, you know, hits the streets, asks people what they think about current events. You know, it feels very much like, let's see, I guess I'm terrible at this generation thing. I guess she's not a millennial. Is she slightly too young to be a millennial? And anyway, you know, generational thing there, you know, that he was this kind of old-fashioned, you know, like newspaper, you know, and she is on social media, you know, so that film, and she is doing good work. You know, it is important that we all know how, you know, what is, you know, what is the consensus on some of these things, you know. That one guy who was like, Daredevil, there's a name I haven't heard of in years, really needed a cigarette. I'm just saying. And let's see, I think that might... that reminds me of a bit in the 2004 licensed Punisher video game where the Punisher says, only place in New York you can still smoke. Let's see. Yeah, I like that Daniel is... Yeah, he is kind of a screw-up, you know. He just like, oh, you know, this, you know, I'm basically his right hand, you know. It's, well, you know, I probably laid it on a little bit too thick. And she's like, I can't tell, you know, I'm not going to repeat the ableist term she uses, but, you know, are you that, or are you an operator? He's a tool operator. And, you know, afterwards he's like, I am so sorry. And let's see, I think that pretty much covers... I will say that first person... Oh, right, that was a good misdirect, too. I do want to... You know, there was this, like, young-looking guy who walks up to Heather, and, you know, has the book signing, and he's like, I really need your help. And then, you know, she calls Matt and is like, you know, I have to take in a new patient. We think that's him, but instead it's couples counseling with the two of them, who seem like they need a larger sofa. That there is a lot of physical distance between them, and I really appreciate the camera work, you know, placing them right there. It's been forever since I did the... Yeah. Anyway, you know, making sure we see, you know, a lesser would have done, like, you know, film them separately and then edit it together. But we need to see the distance between them. The physical distance, you know, here equates to emotional distance. It's, you know, cinematic shorthand, very effective. But yeah, you know, I will say when the young guy walked up to her and you know, said, I really need your help, I was half expecting him to say, you made Candyman kill my father. Or possibly, you know, what's your opinion on the 12 Monkeys? And yeah, the couples counseling was another quite good scene. You know, this thing of when Wilson interrupts, talks over, you know, he catches himself pretty quickly, but like, Heather's asking Vanessa, though, right? You know, you heard that, clearly. He's not used to not being the center of attention. I also quite like when, you know, when the police commissioner said, you know, you're just a whiny baby who wants everyone to tell him he's special, you know. So, yeah, definitely some tryst going on there. But, yeah, let's see, yeah. Good scene of the couples counseling, and it does seem like they might need that. Yeah. Let's see. Right, I also quite like the thing with, you know, Cherry. The thing about, you know, how am I supposed to find a ghost? You know, my ghost busting days are over. Well, then I don't understand. Who are you gonna call? Someone else. I was actually going to say who you going to text, because who calls anyone anymore? But on this show, people still call each other, so there you go. But yeah, the couples counseling, you know, this thing of like, you know, I like to start with a couple of questions, so I'll start with you, Vanessa. Why did you show up to the inauguration dressed like Jim Carrey's The Mask if he was going to a funeral?